It is a pleasure to introduce someone who represents the new face of Indian politics. Articulate, dynamic, and rooted in purpose, Raghav Chadha is one of the youngest members of Parliament in India, serving in the Rajya Sabha and representing a generation that is redefining leadership with clarity, conviction, and courage. A chartered accountant by training, Raghav began his journey far from the glare of political limelight, working with global institutions before choosing public service, a decision driven not by legacy but by intent. He has emerged as a respected voice in policy and governance, known for his sharp communication, financial acumen, and focus on accountability. His work reflects a deep understanding of economic matters and a commitment to transparent, effective governance.
Recognized for his articulate presence and forward-thinking approach, Raghav brings a unique blend of intellect, integrity, and modern leadership, making him one of the most compelling young voices shaping India's evolving political narrative. But beyond titles and achievements, what truly sets him apart is his ability to connect with young India, with ideas, and with the aspirations of a rapidly changing nation. In a world where leadership is constantly being redefined, he stands at the intersection of intellect and impact. Ladies, please join us in welcoming a change maker, a compelling voice in Indian politics, and someone who continues to shape the narrative of modern governance, Raghav Chadha.
Thank you so much, Raghav, for being here. It really means a lot. You told me about 4 days back that that you're going to keep your word, and we're forever grateful. And that's you, a man of your word. So thank you for this.
Thank you so much for inviting me. As you rightly put, I've been in the news for the last 4-5 days for not so pleasant reasons. But I did decide to come simply because I had A, promised, and B, I wanted to meet everybody and be a part of this. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Leader of our times. So excuse me if I fumble a little bit.
As long as you don't ask political questions, I'm fine. I'm more nervous than you are.
So Raghav, at such a young age, you chose to enter politics. What inspired this decision?
So, while I was growing up and when I was in school, when you used to graduate from one class to another, on day one of a new class, the new class teacher used to come and she used to ask all of us that, stand up, tell me your name, your father's profession, so on and so forth, and what you would want to do when you grow up in life. So I remember throughout my school journey, I used to say that I want to join the Indian Army, and that was the sense with which I pursued my schooling. It's also to do with the fact that both on my mother's side of the family and my father's side of the family, we have many people who have served and who are currently serving in the Indian Armed Forces. So that was one dream, and I think it came from this sense of purpose that I want to do something for the country. I want to serve my country. The Indian Armed Forces didn't happen. I chose a completely different route in my life, which was to be a part of the finance world. I became a chartered accountant. But then right at the time I became a chartered accountant, and I was starting up a private wealth management boutique firm where I was investing money for NRIs who had parked their funds overseas, and I was bringing it back into India given the interest arbitrage that one had to play or could potentially play and make some profit back in the day. So that was one of the things that we did. But that time there was a big people's movement that happened, the anti-corruption movement in India, and I became a part of that as a volunteer. Like me, millions and millions of youngsters got into that movement, and then the rest, as they say, is history. That movement became a political party. We founded a political party. We fought elections, lost elections, so on and so forth. And the rest is, I think, pretty much in the public domain, so people know what has happened. So, quite frankly, I would say that it may sound as a cliche, but it's not that I chose politics, right? That was never my ambition or my career choice when I was growing up, you know. And India, we come from a society where whenever you are growing up, you know, your well-wishers, your parents, your relatives, very often will say that, you know, you should become a chartered accountant or an engineer or a doctor or a sports person or an actor. Nobody would say कि बड़े होके नेता बनना, you know. So it's not that this was my training or my calling in any way, but it just so happened.
Well, that leads me to the next question. You represent a new generation in Indian politics. How do you define leadership in today's India?
So, I would say, see, leadership is less about the office that you hold or the title that you have, and it's more about the impact that you can bring, right? How empathetic are you? How well do you understand the ambition, the curiosity, the inhibitions of your team, of your organization? And it's largely to do with the impact that you can bring about. It's not necessary that leadership is only demonstrated in, in the field of administration, when you're running a government, or in form of a political party, when you're leading a party. It could be in your business, in your profession, at your house, at your home, when you have to sort of, bring together a family and raise a family, so on and so forth. So leadership is quite frankly there in every aspect of life. And I've said, it's more to do with impact and less to do with your designation and your title.
Thank you. So what does real influence mean to you beyond the titles and the position then? It's creating an impact. If you could just, expand a little bit on this.
So, of course, it's about creating impact, right? And from the lens that I view impact, because I am from the world of politics and from the world of governance, the biggest impact that one can make in today's day and age, and the sheer quantum of people that a government or an administration can touch is huge, right? Now, all of us in our personal lives, let's say, do some charity, donate some money, or subscribe to, let's say, an NGO that teaches the underprivileged children, or does some medical treatment for people who are not so well healed, so on and so forth. That's great, but that's limited impact. If the government really wants to do something big for the country or for the society, they have a much bigger sort of canvas to impact the lives of people. With one signature, a minister can change the lives of several million school-going kids. With one signature, you can give affordable housing to millions and millions of families across the country. So governments in that sense and administrations in that sense have the real sort of impact making abilities which must be leveraged. So to my mind, that is the kind of impact that we see and deal with on a day-to-day basis, and that's the real impact that one should sort of kind of look towards, I would say.
Yes, definitely. So politics, of course, comes with intense scrutiny. How do you stay authentic under constant public gaze?
Look, one of the ills of being in public life or being, let's say, in the media glare is the invasion of privacy or constant scrutiny, right? So constant scrutiny in that sense is still good, because it keeps you on your toes, keeps you alive, keeps you aware, and it should be embraced by everybody who's in public life, and particularly by those who are in public life vis-a-vis politics and administration. But as far as invasion of privacy is concerned, that's of course, it's a pro and, as you say, there are pros and cons. It's one of the cons of being in the media and in the media glare. So it's something that I've seen up close and personal, and it starts with something as simple as somebody just very quietly keeping their phone and just recording what you're eating in a restaurant, to watching closely what stories you like on Instagram and so on and so forth. So everything in that sense is part of your public life. So one needs to be very careful. But having said that, I feel that if you are true to yourself, if you have, if the ethos of integrity and the ethos of transparency are imbibed well in your character, in the way you lead your life, then I think there's less to worry about scrutiny and invasion of privacy.
Thank you. And like you've always stayed authentic, right? He said he's given us his word, and there he is. So thank you again. In moments of uncertainty, what guides your decision making?
Look, see, every now and then there are moments of uncertainty and moments of, even I would go to the extent of calling it fear, right? If I choose A, what will happen? What will be the repercussions? If I opt for B, what will happen? If I opt for C, what? So, of course, uncertainty, fear, being afraid, so on and so forth, are part and parcel of one's life. What keeps you guiding? To me personally, and I'm a deeply religious guy, is the faith in the Almighty God. And I personally do believe in the divine power of the Almighty God, and He, in many ways, I feel just shows me the way, the path, and that would be true for everybody who's a believer, right? So I'm a core believer, a hardcore believer in God. So I would say that it's Him under whose grace your uncertainty and your fear in decision making usually goes away.
So now, what is your vision for India over the next decade?
Well, India is at an inflection point in the world at this very moment. I feel everybody is looking at India pretty closely, and if one were to just look at it from the prism of investments and finance, back in the day, India used to be looked at as a destination for charity. Anything, whether it's your FDI, FIIs, or anybody who used to invest in India, it was more from the prism of charity. And now that has changed. Now betting on India is equivalent to betting on a winning horse. So in that sense, India is there on the map. But in the times to come, in the next 1 decade, I would personally would want to see India as a country that the world looks up to, and India as a country that looks after its own very well. And the real growth will ideally should travel down from the top to the bottom of the pyramid for everybody, as they say, for the Aam Aadmi, for the common man. That would be the biggest achievement of the next 1 decade, I hope. And then, of course, we can go sector by sector. I mean, how do we leverage AI for that matter? How do we augment our public transport? I mean, every sector of our administration in that sense can achieve real heights. But India is poised well globally, and I would say that the next 1 decade is for India to own, right? So in that sense, exciting times to come.
Thank you. So if in one sentence you can... In one sentence, if you can tell us what a better India is.
No, as I said, a better India is that the India that the world looks up to, and an India that looks after its own people. I think that would be the best definition of an India I would like to see in the next 1 decade.
Thank you. What are the biggest opportunities and challenges you believe we must address today as a nation?
Look, I have been very vocal inside the parliament as well as outside the parliament about artificial intelligence. And I think AI and technology is going to be the new oil in the coming times. Today, India is the consumer of AI. Something as elementary as using your generative LLM software, right? We have ChatGPT, we have Claude, we have DeepSeek, we have Grok, we have Gemini. Most of these are US based, one or two of them are China based. We are, if India has become a consumer of AI, we have not really become the manufacturer of AI. And I think that needs to change. India needs to move ahead in leaps and bounds when it comes to creating AI, maintaining AI, designing AI, and that should be one of the key focus of the government of India and for that matter all governments. So that I see is a big challenge currently because we are neither designing, nor manufacturing, nor creating. We're just consuming, and whosoever controls AI and its related infrastructure, for that matter, is going to rule the roost. Like for example, one of the most important aspects of the artificial intelligence ecosystem is the chips, right? Now those smart chips, 95% of those chips get manufactured by one company sitting in Taiwan. And almost all the chips are designed by only one company sitting in the US called NVIDIA. So we are really lagging behind when it comes to the AI ecosystem, and that's something that we really need to address. Otherwise, we are completely at risk of losing this race.
Thank you. So, women make up 48% of the country. How have women shaped your life?
Well, I mean, the two women who really shaped my life, one of course is my mother, my first teacher. And I think that would be the case for everyone sitting in this room. I mean, from teaching me how to walk to teaching me how to be a good human being. Right? So life effectively, when you go to school, when you enter the world, life shapes you in many ways. You will learn new skills, you will get new degrees, so on and so forth. But the real education perhaps is about becoming a good human being, right? That is something that I would, if I've even become 1% of what my mother wants me to become, I would give all the credit to her. And she's perhaps one of the biggest influences in my life. Apart from that, of course, my wife. She's a great influence, and we can talk about her some other day.
So, we're in a room full of accomplished women. What role do you think women will play in defining India's next chapter?
Look, first of all, I think we as a society, we as a country need to first accept that women do not merely need representation. They also need to be active participants in our growth. Right now, that's a mindset change that needs to happen. Legally speaking, we are at a cusp of giving the best possible opportunity to 50% of our population by bringing in the Women Reservation Bill, which is supposed to be brought into Parliament on the 16th, 17th and 18th of April of this very month. So it will be a defining moment in India's democratic history, where 33% of women or 33% of the seats will be reserved for women, whether it's at the Vidhan Sabha level or at the Lok Sabha level. It's not yet come to Rajya Sabha yet. I hope that also happens very soon, and 33% reservation is there for women. But reservation is one thing, that you are doing this by the force of law. It's the real force of the statute that is making this available. But a mindset change also needs to happen, where representation of women or their role as the accelerator of growth needs to be at the forefront and recognized more by the other 50% in that sense.
Thank you. You've also been a vocal supporter of menstrual hygiene initiatives. In your view, what more needs to be done, both at policy and societal level, to ensure dignity, awareness, and access for every woman and young girl?
Yeah, so I did speak about this, I think, 4 Fridays ago in Parliament, when I, on a private member's bill introduced by a member of parliament from Maharashtra, I spoke about the need for menstrual hygiene and menstrual health, and I kind of gave a detailed analysis of mine that how today, liquor or cigarettes for that matter are sold openly, but when a sanitary pad is to be given, it is wrapped in a newspaper and handed over to you as if you are accepting bribe in that sense, right? Or something is being given to you which is illegal or immoral in that sense. So I think that again is a mindset change that needs to happen, and you'll be surprised at the numbers that I quoted in Parliament. I mean, significant percentage of young school-going girls drop out of school or are missing school on an average of 60 to 70 days in a year, merely because the school does not have facilities when she is undergoing her periods. And I made a pretty passionate sort of appeal that periods are natural, but stigma around it is not, and that is something that needs to stop. I did, of course, mention about how we need to ramp up our public infrastructure, particularly schools and colleges with equipments enough to sort of cater to women when they're undergoing their menstrual period. So those were my thoughts on that issue. I hope they were well received in Parliament, and those who were sitting on the Treasury benches listened to me and bring about some changes.
I hope so too. I really want to tell you that you had a big cheer from all of us at YFLO. We've been working on menstrual hygiene since last year with Ujjas from Aditya Birla Group. We have been building awareness about menstrual hygiene and safe practices of birth in grades 5 to 9 in Delhi public schools. This year, we aim to impact 34,000 girls. So you definitely had a big cheer from our YFLO team. Now coming to a little personal question, which I know everybody wants to know. How did you meet Pariniti? Sorry, I had to put that in.
So she and I both were invited to an award function in London. It was essentially to give awards to people who studied in the UK, then went back to their country and did something reasonably well in their careers, in their areas of work. So she was being awarded as an outstanding achiever in cinema. I was being awarded because she studied in the University of Manchester, and I studied at the London School of Economics. So I was being given an award as an achiever in my area of work, which is administration and governance. So we met actually, quite frankly, at that award function. Our tables were next to each other and we both were given an award. And after that, we met. So, we had a little chat and she said, we'll catch up sometime soon. And I said, yeah, I'm in town tomorrow, let's meet for breakfast. So then the following morning we met for breakfast. We actually both, she and I met in a group. Like I went with 3 people, she came with our manager and a few people, and we had a group breakfast in that sense. But then of course we exchanged numbers and then the rest as the series. So that's how we met at an award function.
Thank you. So that leads me to the next question. Who is more disciplined at home?
No, don't leave my personal life out of it. You asked me about my professional life and my politics. I don't want this to be a coffee with Karan.
Okay, done. Daman, over to you.
Yeah. What drives you beyond ambition? So there's a quick rapid fire kind of.
I think purpose, like a sense of purpose to do something for the people, for the country.
Who or what has been your biggest influence in shaping your journey?
A lot of things. Starting from family, both my mother and my father, to my school, my college, my upbringing, everything. I think everything actually, quite frankly, really shapes the way you see the world and really influences you, right? And most importantly, your own parents. So yeah, I would certainly say both mom and dad. Look, I chose the field of finance and I was I am a trained chartered accountant, so yeah, maybe doing something in the area of wealth management.
One leader, global or Indian, you admire the most.
Does a leader have to be alive, or could I just refer back to
Any.
Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel?
Great.
I'm
Thank
avoiding all sorts of controversy.
Thank you so much, Raghav. That was incredible.
Thank you, Raghav. Thank you so much. We have a very small tradition at YFLO where we plant a tree in your name as a symbol of growth, legacy, and the impact that you continue to create. So may I please call upon some of the supporters that we have in our audience today who have supported us in bringing this evening together. Mr. Raghav Chadha from Avendis, Nidhi Ahuja from Ahuja Sons, to facilitate Raghav, please. And I would also invite our floor past chairs, Jayanti Dalmia ji, Poonam Mahajan ji, governing body members, YFLO past chairs, Gayatri, Aradhana.